Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary things.
Uh-huh. Want some candy?
Are we ready?
Let's do it.
What's up, all you little lycanthropes? Welcome back to another episode of Monster Candy Podcast with myself, Screamin' E from the Memphis Murder Men, Oubliette Sparks from Tsunami Bomb, and back once again. He's basically like the unofficial third host now because he's just always on here. And after last week's, the name's sticking. Mad Mike Terry from the
like
Jukebox Romantics. And
always good to be back.
Yeah, buddy. And yeah, tonight we're going to discuss The Howling.
Oh,
Joe Dante's 1981 werewolf flick. But before we get into all of that, I'm almost dying to get into horror news. It's time for some
we got some horror news.
We do. There's a lot of news this week.
There's a lot of news.
Horror news.
And there's going to be a What Chap Screaming E's Ass Part 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What makes Mike
there we
mad?
go.
Parts
That's why
2.
you're excited.
Yeah, that's why he's pumped.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Who has the news that will chap less asses? That won't derail the conversation right off the bat.
There's
I've got
so
some
much
good
news.
news.
Yeah, there's good news, and then there's also news.
I got good news
that's
and I got man news.
annoying news.
I'll just go.
Yeah, go.
I
Go,
got
Mike.
like weird news.
Okay, so this all happened like right after or right when we recorded it last. Godzilla got its Academy Award,
Yes, it did.
It did.
right? That
And they
did
had
not
cool
happen in the
shoes.
last time. Dude. That big ass bastard. He got his after what was it, 70 something years?
Do we know
Yeah.
that it's a he? For sure.
I'm just the general he.
I mean,
them.
they've always referred to Godzilla as him. So
Okay.
and
Okay.
it's never been like
I figured. I was just curious.
yeah,
No female.
Well,
Godzilla
and-
would cause
and
such
plus-
destruction.
because he's always had a thing with Mothra.
True.
So it's been like a traditional interspecies type of deal. Anyway,
I'm very proud that they won that award. Well deserved. And
Yeah.
it just, that can only mean good things for people who worked on that film and the film in general. It's pretty fucking cool. I think not enough big of a deal was made about it. But that was some good news. And let's see what else do I have in news. I don't have anything that crazy. I have my news right here. Okay, so news that we predicted months ago. Nev Campbell is back in Scream.
Dude, just let it
It's
die.
the only way they could have kept it alive. The
It
only
is.
way they could have done another movie is bringing her back. We knew it. The second those two jumped ship, they had to go back to her. And
Yeah,
I hope
so
she's
quick.
getting paid like 10 times more than the original deal.
She better be like, I'm getting both their salaries. Whatever they both were making, I want it combined.
It also makes me wonder if there
Probably more
wasn't
than that.
an issue that she didn't have an issue with either Jenna Ortega or whoever. That she was just kind of like, this is like, I don't want to do
Nah,
this
dude, I think they
weirdness.
backed
I
up
don't
that
know.
truck to her. They backed up that money
yeah.
truck and was like,
Yeah.
please come.
Well, I
now,
mean, that too.
we're on a roll right now. Because, to think about it, they could have just been like, all right, let's scrap this movie right now. We'll come back to this in a couple of years and we'll just start over with you. And people will be pumped regardless. But they were
Right.
like, you know what? No, let's stake on the Scream momentum we have for the last couple of years. And let's just give you whatever you want.
Yeah, and plus, I think we all kind of felt that it was like starting to go to try and usher in the new crew of Scream. So where
Right.
she's like this random legacy character that's not really the focus. She's just kind of there supporting. And she was probably like, dude, I am the fucking franchise. Like, what are we doing? If I'm not going to be the main focus, then why the fuck am I here? So pay me money, bitches.
Good for her.
Yeah, good
It's
for her.
going to suck. Or maybe,
Yeah,
I know,
make
maybe
that
it'll
money.
be okay.
It might be okay.
I don't give a fuck though now. I
Yeah.
was invested in the other ones.
Yeah. For me, it's run its course. Like I said, that first one back I thought was well enough. And then it's just starting to get like, for me, back to the all the other sequels. That's just starting to get random shit going on with different characters. I'm like, I don't care about these characters, but whatever, man. Let her get her money. It is her franchise, regardless. So,
Right.
Yeah.
My last piece of news is
Yeah.
following up on those wonderful screenshots we got. We've now got a Crow trailer,
Yeah.
a trailer for the Crow.
Yeah.
And as somebody
do.
who loves the Crow, and even apologizes for the second and part of the third, fourth, and fifth Crow movies, I can find light in all of them. The trailer with Ozzy Osbourne and the violence in the trailer made me feel a little bit better. I still have my reservations. I don't think it's going to be anything. I'm going to pretend that it has nothing to do with the original one and try to go in there and pretend like the original one doesn't exist. But
Clear your mind.
on its own, if I just closed my eyes and I saw that trailer, I'd be like, you know what? I'll give that movie a chance. So I'm going to give it a chance. And I'm not going to get all heated about it like I really want to. Because there's like two evils inside of me, much like a werewolf and the human in me, fighting against each other. I'm trying to stay positive, Mike Terry, and not mad Mike Terry. So I will just leave it at that. We got a Crow trailer, and I think that was kind of the consensus. I think most people felt a lot better from the pictures they got, at least from the discourse I saw online.
The trailer doesn't look terrible. It looks as a movie would look nowadays, which is fine. But it's like just the actual pictures of his character, like to where you can actually see what his character looks like. It's Ninja. It's Ninja from Diane Ward. That's who it is.
Which dude? Have you seen what he looks like now? Because there's some some documentary about their whole
craziness,
fucking shit,
rise and fall.
Oh, I would love to see that.
He's full, hair longer than mine, and beard just as long. Looks like fucking Jesus with gold teeth.
You know what?
Awesome.
I think I did see someone post something.
I didn't realize it was him, and I was like, then he spoke, and I was like, oh, that's fucking Ninja.
Yeah.
You can't fucking, nobody else sounds like that motherfucker. Like,
I think
he overdoes his accent so badly.
Yeah, I think there's a new video they have, and he's in it like that.
He was great in Jappy.
I don't know. After we talked about it on here, all of a sudden my algorithm on social media, I started getting all these fucking videos for their documentary, and I'm like, why is Diane wearing all my shit now?
Dude, I got nothing but fucking Alien Mall videos from months after our conversations in here.
Yeah. It's okay. E is being bombarded with Kate Middleton is dead or getting like a million other conspiracy theory ones because of me. So I'm glad we can all share that together.
Bring them all on. I love them. I love them. Get them all in there. Yeah. Well.
All right. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay. So I had one, and it's just that, and then I was looking for more, and I just like landed a fucking like bomb just now. But the one I had wasn't that great, but it's interesting. The original team from the Ghoulies is doing a new trilogy.
Yes, saw that. Which is cool.
And I'm excited. Yeah. The team behind it looks cool. They're not trying to like redo it necessarily. They're kind of continuing on the storyline. But here, this is so nuts. So this thing that I'm going to talk about could potentially be awesome, but I think it's also like so fucking crazy. So they're bringing back Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, but the team they fucking have as actually towards this movie, they're going to get Joe Dante in on it. So, he Howling, Piranha, both the Gremlins. Yep. Awesome. But he's like 78 fucking years old. And then this is the other one. And given he's just producing, but Roger fucking Corman, who did the original with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. We talked about that on the, I brought that up when we talked about the Joe Bob the Jamboree, because that's where they broke it at. That's where they announced it. So I came back and said they're
I guess I just didn't look into it that much of who was involved. Like everyone doing this is Jerry fucking Atrick.
yeah,
It's like our politics right now. I mean,
yeah,
these guys have a
Roger Corman
fucking
is
great track
97
record.
years old.
yep, yeah,
Yeah. But so today, and they made some more announcements too. Like the script writer for Gremlins 2 is doing the script. Like they're bringing like they just keep naming more people that were in all these greats. And like, so my apologies, E, you broke it first, but like the fucking age of these people.
yeah. The thing that I'm hoping it
Like, what the fuck?
I mean, yeah, it could go where they're just out of touch with everything, or they could have such a grasp on the like just the canon and everything about the movies that it turns out good, as opposed to super like extra campy how the musical
For
was.
Little Shop?
Yeah,
It's probably
I
because like
don't know,
isn't the
though.
play like having like a comeback? Like isn't it doing pretty well?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
don't.
play's doing great,
Yeah, I
great
think
right now, but it's got Evan Rachel Wood just came out in the
Oh,
new version as Audrey.
okay.
yeah,
Or not, yeah, not Audrey.
Um,
the girl.
Violet. Violet? That's not her name.
I can't
No.
remember.
That's Violet's the name
Fucking
from Jawbreaker.
Seymour, Audrey too.
And
too.
Audrey.
Well, maybe she is Audrey because
Yeah.
Audrey too is
Yeah.
Oh
the
yeah.
plant.
Plant. Yeah.
Anyways, but okay, they might be able to, but so in after finding out their ages and everything else, I looked at everything that they have been doing recently, and it's not good. So I'm very curious.
Yeah. I mean,
Like they
it's
don't,
like,
none of them have done anything like Camp Coldbrook. Like they've done a bunch of fucking Lifetime movies and like D movies.
yeah.
I mean, even in the
No, thank you.
90s, The Phantom.
I mean, it
Mm-mm. It's a little scary.
a little scary,
I'm
but
excited, but
yeah,
it's
Roger Corman rules so hard. So I'm like, whatever, let him have his thing. And I love Joe Dante. Um, Gremlins 2, I was not that big of a fan of,
it's
but
so good.
I mean,
Hulk
it's
Hogan.
yeah, it's cool.
For a comedy, it's like the
Yeah.
best ever.
Yeah, but so you have the first one, which is like 50s camp. Then you have the remake,
It was in the 60s, my man. 60s.
Little Shop of Horrors, the original one.
Oh, wait, was there one before Jack Nicholson?
No, I don't believe so. Was that 60s or was it like 59 or
I
58
think it
or
was
something?
1961 or 62.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yeah,
Mike Terry's in there.
1960.
1960. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hairs.
All right.
Right.
We'll call
So,
it even. Till
and
60s.
then you have the musical, which is like awesome in its own right.
Suddenly see more.
Has the
So
best
good.
music soundtrack ever. But
Yeah.
I don't know,
Just
maybe
the accent singing and that.
yeah, oh yeah. Maybe it'll be like a good mix between camp and dark and just be good. You know, I mean, I don't have any like super great hopes for it because it's not like we need another one, but who knows? Sometimes them old folks surprise us and they'll come out
Well,
and lay
I
something
think
down.
also what this is really making me realize is that we're probably going to live to be like 125 guys,
Maybe.
like us that are
Yeah.
talking to each other right now.
Right. 'Cause
I
Salt
really
and
don't
take me
want to
now.
because like my everything already hurts now. Everything already hurts now in my 40s, but if
Yeah.
we're looking at like all these oldies with brain function and like doing shit like this in their 90s, we're definitely
I mean, we're definitely on
I
the
mean-
path of getting like chips in our heads to keep
This
our
is true.
memory going.
Mhm.
We're definitely on that way.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
Did you guys hear anything about anything coming out? Oh, sorry. Oops. Do you have any more news? It's like to tack on.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Anybody hear about anything coming out of South by? If any good movies popped up?
I've heard about a couple random things that but like my friends in Austin have said that this South by attendance has been really shitty. I have a
Right.
lot of friends who work all the bars and like the parties, and they said it's just that this year's been noticeably different.
Too
Hmm.
much all the time, probably. It's probably just running its
Probably
course.
oversaturation.
Yeah, but
I mean,
usually I
I
feel like
loved
every
it. When I
year.
lived there, it was like the back in the day where it would be like you found out about like a secret party at 6 in the morning and they'd hand you free tennis shoes and like some crazy rapper would show up and then all of a sudden you'd get a text and be like running across town at like noon and they'd give you like some fucking like weird, it was just crazy. It was like all these tents and free swag and like just over the top. And now
Wait,
it's
what year was
become
that?
a lot more formal. So I lived in Austin from 2001 to like 2011.
Okay. Yeah, because the only times I've been to South by, the two times that it was cool was like 2010 and 2011. And then
Hmm.
I felt like it probably was going, we had been back a bunch of times and it didn't have the same, like you were talking about that running around, finding out about parties was still going on like 2010
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel
But
like
even then
usually
it
back,
changed a lot. Because
I'm
like
sure it got
10
more
years before
corporate.
that, I mean, the amount of swag and free alcohol was just ridiculous. I mean, literally the morning parties started at 5 or 6 in the morning and they'd have like breakfast buffets with just like bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. And then like
It was
it's
like punk
when
rock
Tito's
bowling.
was first founded and Tito's would just give free vodka fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And then like you would have the after hours shows. And because they were giving alcohol away for free, last call didn't count because nobody was purchasing it. So for 24 hours, there were parties going around with like every fucking liquor company just handing kids,
Interesting.
well, young adults,
Okay.
massive amounts of
We definitely
fucking,
had like
it
a
was,
weekend that was sponsored by Deep Eddy. And I didn't know who the fuck Deep Eddy was.
yep,
I was like, yeah,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, they're like, just be
Good
careful with
vodka.
that sweet tea vodka will kill you. It's like, okay.
Dude,
I was just drinking that on
they're
the
great
rocks.
grapefruit one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Jeez.
remember one year like we were at one of the after parties and then Andrew WK just like went out to the pedestrian bridge and put a generator out there and just started playing. And so like everybody
As
left all
Andrew
these
WK
after
would,
parties.
right?
Yeah, somebody like jumped off the bridge. It was chaos.
I
I mean,
remember
it
that
was
year because I
definitely
think he
still
played.
fun in 10 and 11, but like I
Yeah.
think they had to add some regulations at some point.
But yeah. So I haven't heard too many movies. Usually we hear about some movies coming out of South by now. The only thing I saw was that Sydney Sweeney movie that's like been talked about, Immaculate.
Hmm.
Yeah, that
That
one
movie,
and God,
some
I
movie.
just
There's a creature feature. I think it's
there
called
was
like
another one I
Ick.
just saw today. Let me see.
Sting, maybe? No, that's already coming out.
I thought it was called Ick.
Could be.
I know there was like two or three of them.
I saw something. I saw something that said ick, but I didn't know if it was
I
South
forgot who
by
was in it. It's like,
Southwest or
oh
not.
man, I should have prepared this. I just wasn't sure. I figured you guys would be up on it. I'm always behind on this shit. I was like, they'll know.
Yeah, I haven't really heard
Yeah,
anything.
no. Oh, I can't find it. There was one I just
Yeah,
saw
Mina
a post,
Suvari.
but
Oh,
Mina
really?
Suvari and
oh, interesting.
Brandon Ruth are in Joseph Kahn's monster movie Ick.
Hmm.
I don't know. Ick, a Sasquatch movie, Civil War, and Immaculate seem to be the four coming out of there.
Yeah, I
But
haven't heard
Civil War, I
much.
Civil
feel like
War, that's the one.
that's been going on for a while though.
Um,
It's like way
Yeah.
before South by.
and Azrael is the other one.
Ooh, what's
Which
that?
has so it has Samara Weaving from Ready or Not
Oh yeah.
in it. I
Mhm.
don't know much more other than that, but I've been seeing people mention it. I guess it's silent film or
Interesting.
close to it.
Hmm.
So
Roger
Well.
Corman's time period.
Seriously. Oh,
Dude, Roger Corman was born
Yes,
like
yes.
months after Nosferatu came out.
Yeah. Yeah, like I never really like thought how old he was.
He's old enough to actually remember World War II.
Right.
The pictures of him they keep putting in all these ads are at least 30 years old because I looked at a picture of him from last year and that does not look like the same guy at all.
Yeah. No, he's old. Like I said, when they did
His agent's like, we can't put the Crypt Keeper in this article. We have to get something else.
Ooh, this Azrael movie sounds good. Donnie.
Lay it on us.
yeah.
So in a world, it's an action horror, which I think
In a
she'd be good
world.
at because she was pretty good in Ready or Not. Yeah. In a world No one speaks. A devout female hunts down a young woman who has escaped her imprisonment. Recaptured by its ruthless leaders, Azrael is due to be sacrificed to pacify an ancient evil deep within the surrounding wilderness.
I mean, that's a cool synopsis for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the pictures look very bloody, and so far it's almost 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
Like 2024 Crow bloody or just like regular bloody?
I mean, the main picture that they show is she's pretty fucked up.
Nice. I'll take it.
But I like her a lot. She's funny.
Yeah.
I really liked her in Ready or Not.
Yeah,
There's
she's
something
good.
else she was in I liked, but
She's the with great value. What's her name? Who's the girl who just,
Margot
who's just in Barbie?
Margot Robbie.
Margot
Yeah,
Robbie.
Great value, Margot Robbie.
okay, yeah.
Good value, Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
I actually think she's a little bit cuter. But
Mm.
that's just
They could be related.
Yeah. But they're all like
Both very talented.
they're all clones from what's her face from Joe Dirt.
No. Jamie Presley is an ugly
Presley.
fucking whore. She's not attractive.
Jamie Presley.
She is the
wow.
great. She's the great value one. She's not even remotely attractive.
She's the
Oh, I didn't mean
first.
great. I didn't mean great value as
Idiots.
like. I didn't mean great value as a bad thing. I meant like it's like she's just her star level isn't as high.
Right. I mean,
Oh,
but
okay.
Jamie Presley is definitely lower star value than both.
she's the original one,
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There were
She
plenty
peaked and
before
can't
them. There have
hardly
been
wait.
blondes.
though.
There have been blondes with that same look since the beginning of time. Okay, Jamie
It's true.
Presley is
You're
just
right.
a
You're
blip
right.
on the fucking timeline.
She
He's
is.
just trying to trigger me.
I'm just saying.
1997 to 1999, Jamie Presley was there, and that's it. She existed.
My Name is Earl.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
she's-
show she was on.
My name is
Yeah,
Earl. Jesus
great.
Christ.
Yeah, who the fuck cares about that? Nobody. No one.
I tell you, people who are really into My Name is Earl are probably care. They're also big fans of like Titus. You remember that show?
I do remember that show.
Oh God, yes.
Zach Ward was on it.
Christopher
Fucking
Titus.
Yeah.
Scott Farkas
Ugh.
was his brother, which I never knew that was Scott
Weird.
Farkas. And then
Scott Farkas.
I realized, oh shit, that's Scott Farkas. Huh. Yeah. We're all showing our age right now.
I know. Jesus.
We're
Christ.
like Roger
Yeah.
Corman, bro. Yeah. I remember.
Somebody did just have a birthday. In this chat.
Huh?
Said somebody did
Somebody
just have a
what?
birthday in this class. Nope, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Boobzilla.
Oh, okay.
So what? What's it
I wasn't
to
sure
ya?
if you didn't
What's
want me to
it
mention
ya?
it. Nothing. I was saying
What?
somebody. I was making a segue into wishing you happy birthday.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I spent my birthday on an airplane. It was fun.
Nice.
hmm
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I made the smart idea of being like, I want to get home like at a decent time after our Chicago show so I can spend it with my husband and dogs. And then forgot that the time change was happening on my birthday. So when I set my alarm at my hotel room after the show, it gave me a whopping 2 hours and 20 minutes before I had to get to the airport.
Yeah.
And then I got to the airport, and then I had the almost 2 hour drive home from Newark
Fun.
after they lost my keyboard for a while. And I'm not a coffee drinker, but I went and got a cold brew and was like fucking chugging it as like I was waiting for them to tell me what happened with my keyboard, being like, okay, I'm just gonna stay awake long enough to drive home and get this keyboard in my car. But I made it.
Yeah. Flying is
Happy
fun.
Happy birthday. I'm glad your keyboard was not lost on your birthday.
Yeah.
Not quite
It
as
wasn't.
old.
It was just one of those dumb fucking things. Here. This is what chaps my ass. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, person who works at the airport for United, where's oversized baggage? Because they moved it, right? And they're like, we have a moving thing for it now. It's gonna be on number 4 or whatever. And I went, and sure as shit, it said golf clubs, musical instruments, whatever. And there were like big ass things coming out of the machine and spinning around. And I'm like, my shit is not coming out. And I'm like, everyone from my flight got their oversized, and it's like taking a while. So then I asked the first person I see, I was like, would it be somewhere else? And they're like, no, it's always here unless you don't pick it up, and then it goes to like baggage. So I just walk over to baggage just to make sure. And I'm like, hey, do you happen to have this? And she looks at me and is like, no, that's going to be over there at the kiosk where you pick up oversized baggage. So there was a kiosk where she's like, any musical instruments go over there. They wouldn't be in the golf club part. So then I walk over and it's been sitting there. And she's just like, oh, this has
you
been
should
here
know
for
that.
30 minutes.
Right.
As I'm like, I think that's mine. And she's like, are you sure? Can I see your tag? It's been here for a little while. And I'm like, you fucking people.
There's 3 different places to pick this shit up, and you all gave different answers. That's not your fault.
Yeah. I'm like, it's
Just
my birthday. I'm on 2.5 hours of sleep. Like, I actually, I mean, I was on the app. I was on the app looking like, if they lose your luggage at one point, will they just ship it to you or bring it to your house? Because I was like, I'm just going to fucking, even if I have to pay for this shit, I'm just going to do it because I need to hit the road, man. So, but no. Keyboards made it, and I hate everyone who was working that day that I spoke to that lied to me.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
They're not always the best. One time when we flew back east to do a run, my bass player at the time had just gotten his Rickenbacker. So he's like, sweet, I'm going to take it on tour. We're like, all right, cool. Goes through TSA, everything. We get to Pittsburgh. Dude, they opened it. You know how they check all the shit. So they opened it, took it out, put it back upside down.
Shut the fuck
That's
up.
what they did to my keyboard.
And fucking just smashed it
Crammed
in.
it in.
Bent the fucking tuning peg. He was like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Like he had just got it maybe a few weeks before. And he was so psyched and it was already fucked up. And they were just yeah.
That's why I don't have a keyboard case that holds a stand anymore, because I originally did. And I think the second or third set of shows we ever played Be Back as a Band. First, because Trump was flying in, they stopped security at the airport in Houston. So I missed my fucking flight because
Always
they
fun.
just didn't stop letting anyone through.
Right.
So I'm like on my phone buying another flight as I'm in security. Get another flight, go through. I literally am like walking in the venue to do a sound check before doors, like barely made it. And I get it on the stage and I forget who opened the case and they're like, fuck. And I'm like,
not what you want to hear when you open a musical case.
and I'm like, what? Like, I haven't fucking eaten. I'm like pissed already. And I look and TSA had checked it and they had taken the keyboard out. They like undid my cords. So they're just like matted everywhere.
Right.
Which is fucking crazy. And they put it back in and put the keyboard stand on top of the front of the keyboard. It shattered some of the keys and made like a third of the buttons completely unusable.
Fun.
I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
And they're like, here's your $200 voucher. You're like, what?
what the fuck? Yeah, I was like, who the fuck? Like, what fucking idiot, even if you've never played an instrument, would do that? It's like a big ass metal stand and just like, let's just plop it on top of the fucking gear. Like,
Yeah. And you're like, oh, this doesn't fit. This doesn't close the way it opened. Let me just
Get it that
fucking
your
smash
job
it.
sucks, but like just do your job. Just put it back the way it was. You don't even have to put the cables back. Like nice. Just
No.
put it back in.
I mean, there's.
I'd rather them not even put it in. I'd rather them check it in front of me and then like, all right, here, you figure it out. Because that happens to me all the time. I always get pulled to the side and they just take apart my bag and then they're like, all right, you figure this out now. I'm like, all right, thanks, guy.
But I mean, it's
100%. Like I wish they would do that when I go to check my bags. Be like, TSA is definitely gonna search this. Great.
Yeah.
Let
Take
me
me
take
with
it out
you.
for you.
Yeah, let me just do it now. And now I just pull myself aside. I've been pulled over to extra security so much now that my name must get flagged for some reason. And so
maybe.
No, it's 100%. There's another Michael S. Terry with my birthday, same year, same description, except he's black. So not exactly the same description, but it's everything. So I get flagged all the time for shit. 5'8" tattoos, 1986, Michael S. Terry. But he's from Atlanta. He's a child molester and a rapist. And so
oh, good.
I get tagged. So like
That's
everywhere I go,
probably-
it's always
yeah,
just like,
that would make
we
sense.
always give extra time, especially with band stuff. Just like,
Yep.
all right, like, we're going to get there. And they're like, hey, we have a
Come
random
here.
check. It's like, yes, I know it's so random. Here I come.
But yeah, dude, you're so right. It's just like,
I got
just do
global
it.
entry.
Like,
I got all the things. It doesn't matter.
just do your fucking job. Like if something isn't closing when it was closed to begin with, like, you know, you're doing something wrong. They just don't even care. They're just like, fuck it. On to the next one. Yeah.
Nope. May they all die of horrible death from a fucking werewolf.
Right. Oh yeah. All right. Let's
Wow. There are a lot of rapists named Michael Terry, sir.
Michael S. Terry.
Randomly, I googled Michael S. Terry and rape, and there's quite a bunch of
Dude, the way I found out was terrible.
What's wrong with your name?
I used to teach after school. Like I used to teach kids how to build robots, like after school, like an after school
Rapey
program.
Mike Terry.
And you know, like schools nowadays have like cops in them. So like
Right.
Yeah,
every
of
time I go to these schools, especially in these rich neighborhoods that can afford this after school program, they like scan your ID and then they give you a name tag and then you go along your way. And so one day I go into this place and this dude is sitting there. I see him all the time. Like every week I see this guy. He runs my fucking ID. He's like, you got to wait. I'm like, what? He's like, you got flagged. And then, you know, like there's like a cop that just sits around in every school now. So the cop is like sitting there and he's checking in. And now, mind you, there's like 13 first graders running around without an adult because they've detained me.
Yeah.
And they're just in a classroom alone, which is just like, all right, like I was like, I have to get to these kids. Like they're just waiting for me. And I'm sure nobody's with them right now. It's like, you can't go anywhere. Hold on. And then so I'm there for half an hour. And that's when he told me, like, when was the last time you were in Atlanta? I was like a year ago. He's like, what were you doing there? I'm like, I play in a band. He's like, He's like, you weren't like arrested last week there. I'm like, I assure you I wasn't. And then they're like, hold on. And they kept saying, hold on. And they came back. I was like, can I get to my classroom? Like, what is going on here? And then they all start laughing. Like, it's this big thing. It's like, oh, there's another
you've been
Michael S.
punked.
Yeah, there's another Michael S. Terry who has your description, except he's black and you're not black. Go along your way.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, great. So then ever since then, I get knocked all the time and flagged anytime I go through security things.
I mean, that'll
So,
definitely do it. So,
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
oh well.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
Well,
All right.
I'm glad they're being safe and checking for this psycho.
Right. It's good. All right. My horror news is going to be real quick. So Salem's Lot is going to Max, like some had anticipated,
Yeah.
but there is still no release date. So who
I
fucking
saw
knows
that.
when? That, and also something I had been keeping an eye on because I have a friend who works really close with Phil Tippett. So his company is selling the majority of stakes to I think it's an Indian company, Phantom FX.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently everything's going to just run, business as usual, but they just have basically like a new majority shareholders to keep everything afloat. So
Did they have anything to do with that stop motion movie that just came out on
Yes.
Shudder?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, there was some weirdness going on for a while that they were looking for investors just because,
That shit's expensive.
yeah, so much stuff is done just strictly visual effects,
Mm-hmm.
which they do. Like my buddy who's pretty much like his right-hand man, like that's what he does. But
So more so than stop motion at this point.
no, they do both, like physical
Oh,
stuff
okay.
and everything, but just the genre, the Hollywood in general is just very everything's CGI. So when it comes to anything physical or stop motion, they're like, that's old. But if you've seen Mad God or anything,
I saw Mad God.
Yeah,
It was
fucking-
wild.
yeah, good practical effects make things look better if used with CGI and everything. And that's
So he sold a majority share or all of it?
yeah, no, majority share.
Mm.
So that's good because Phil Tippett fucking rules. So
Did that
I'm
movie
glad.
was that movie good? The stop motion movie on Shudder?
I haven't
No.
seen. No, they kept on saying it was going to be on Shutter, but it's
on
not on
Shudder.
there. Is it? I just looked the
Yeah.
other day. I couldn't find it.
It must have got taken down. And maybe they got a better deal from somebody and they took it off.
Maybe.
It was on Shudder.
Because that's what I thought, and then I went back to watch it like last week or the
It's
other week
called
after we
stop
stopped.
motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I went to look and I searched it and there was nothing. I was like, what the fuck? But so those are the two things. And then, all right, it's time for part 2 of what Chap's screaming his ass.
This is like part a bajillion.
Get the cream.
Well, this goes directly with what I spoke about on the last episode, which is like, dude, how do you ignore all these horror outlets and fucking publications?
The King Kong thing.
Oh, I'm gonna go
Dude.
get another drink. I'll be back. I'll get it. I
What
gotta get
in
a
the
drink.
Yeah, that's
Fuck.
what I just did. I was like, I'm not going to drink tonight, but I knew once
Yeah.
he said chapping ass. I was like,
Oh no!
I'm just like,
King Kong, baby, King Kong.
I get it. I get it. Some movies slip through the cracks. Like you can't give like a on this day for every single fucking movie. Sure, I get it. I understand. But
King Kong.
King Kong is like, if not the, I mean, in my opinion, it could be top 10 greatest movies of all time, period. But at least top 2 between that and Godzilla, and maybe even first because it was in fucking 1933. Like, greatest monster movies ever. It like a foundation of the genre. So how do you snub its anniversary? Which, don't get me wrong, some,
Apparently
these,
pretty easily.
dude, what the fuck? That's so rude. I get it. Some of these
Rude, huh?
outlets love to pick and choose between their premieres and release dates, national release dates, which none of them started doing premieres until I started fucking making memes about it and talking shit, because that's obviously the birth date of the movie anyway. But some movies don't have premieres.
What was the year?
Again,
1933.
1933. So it was
man, I
on.
wonder if that was Roger Corman's first movie I saw in the theater. He's like 7.
Maybe I saw 2. There's this one Instagram page that's like just devoted to King Kong stuff, like anything King Kong. That posted something on March 2nd because it premiered March 2nd in New York City. And then the Ray Harryhausen Foundation put something out because Willis H. O'Brien, the fucking granddaddy of stop motion, his birthday is on March 2nd. So they put something out for his birthday and then also mentioned it being King Kong's, anniversary. And then we put something out because why the fuck wouldn't you? And I'm like, all right, maybe they missed the first one. There's at least 2 more like soft release dates. There was one in Baltimore and then Los Angeles. Baltimore one has passed. The Los Angeles one will probably, this might be out by the time that happens. So we'll see if they do anything there. If not, the national release date, I think, is April 7th. So if they go through that and not say anything about King Kong's anniversary, like that goes back to what I was saying is like, okay, dude, if you're going to run specific horror publications and things devoted to horror movies and monster movies, dude, you have to have people working there that are going to give the flowers to like the foundation
100%.
of the thing.
Especially when you're fucking like promoting and jizzing over Godzilla and King Kong coming out. It's like you have to like be like, hey, like, I know we're promoting Godzilla and King Kong coming up, but Godzilla just got an Academy Award and that's pretty cool because of this, and this. And you know what? This is King Kong's anniversary, like it's all hand in hand. I don't know how you can mention one without mentioning the other.
Right.
So I do agree with you in this chapping of your ass segment.
Right. And it's like I said, it's one thing. Like I get it. Some days you miss dates or whatever when they're doing on this day. Cool. Fine. But
it directly is in hand with the promotion of what you're promoting right now.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, it'd be one thing if it was like, oh, this one podcast online thing, news outlet thing that doesn't, they might not get everything. Okay, that's fine. Or if it was this other strictly horror news related thing, but it was like Fangoria didn't say anything, Famous Monsters didn't say anything, but they shared our story of King Kong. So
Interesting.
by proxy.
Weird
but
that they didn't say anything.
Right. None of them did. So I'm like, are they all just thinking they're going to do the release? But which is weird because there's the last couple years, there's been like King Kong was shown, I think 3 years ago in the theaters during that week, March 2nd, for its 90th, whatever anniversary, whatever year it was at the time. So it's like, they know. And there were some random like websites that said some shit. So I was like, I'm like, are you guys doing this like specifically to piss me off? It's fucking personal, isn't it? But
100% personal. They're
those
100% doing this to piss you
motherfuckers.
off. They
Yeah.
fucking know it.
Ah,
Especially if they shared it. They shared it, so they know they're
yeah.
pissing
Well, at
you
least
off.
Famous Monsters of Filming shared it. So they're like, okay, like we'll just at least something. But dude, come on, Fangoria. Come on, dude. And then you share some bullshit like fucking, I don't know, Tourist Trap, which is a fine movie and everything, but it's no fucking King Kong. Come on, guys.
Nope.
Get
You're
it
correct.
together.
Get it
But
together.
yeah. But aside from all that, go fucking Roger Corman. Go Roger Corman. Do whatever you want because you're awesome and old as fuck. Ah. But all right, yeah. That's all I got. Anyone else got anything?
No.
All right. Well, that's been I know. And speaking of Roger Corman and Joe Dante, we're going to talk about The Howling, Joe Dante's 1981 werewolf movie.
What a
All right.
cool poster.
Yeah.
Where what?
Werewolf movie.
Woof.
Werewolf.
Werewolf.
It sounds cuter when you say it that way.
Werewolf.
So no, this is very interesting because I get shit on a lot of the ways I say things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And my boss says it's because I was born in Florida and then moved to Northern California, and he tries to make it a Florida thing. And I'm like, no. Because people in my band and other people I know from the Bay Area say some of these things too. But you're from PA, so it's interesting. I wonder if you got it from PA or if you picked it up in California. But one of them is not saying werewolf and saying werewolf.
Werewolf.
It goes along with the roof
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways.
but I say roof and not like roof.
Well, now you're just breaking all the laws.
Yeah.
I say roof.
Yeah, I say roof.
Yeah, because that's the way the fucking word is supposed to be said.
How do you say the thing that you have that dictates how much you pay when you get medical services?
Blood? What are you talking about?
No, the thing you have to pay for every month that
Insurance?
covers you.
That thing I don't have, insurance? Yeah.
Okay, the first time you said it like how I do. Say it,
Insurance.
Mike.
Insurance. How do you say it? Insurante.
Insurance.
Yeah, insurance.
Okay, we all say it.
Yeah.
So my boss makes fun of me because I put the thing on
In?
N,
Right.
insurance.
Insurance, yeah.
And he's like, insure. I can't do it. But anyways.
Like
okay,
the shore
interesting.
is emphasized. Insurance instead of an
Or,
insurance.
no, it's just all like one thing.
Right.
But interesting, Mike, because you're from the Northeast, right?
Yeah. I'm born and raised here. New York City.
But he does say I do it more like insurance.
Mm. Like you're emphasizing the in.
Right.
But you guys just did a little bit too. Okay, sorry. Just let's talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Tell your boss to eat a dick and
Yep.
you speak fine. You speak good.
Werewolves movie. It's
Yeah,
multiple.
wolves. There are multiple werewolves. All right. So the
A wolf
synopsis
movie.
is after a bizarre and near deadly encounter with a serial killer, a television newswoman is sent to a remote mountain resort whose residents may not be what they seem. Spoiler alert, they're all werewolves.
It's such a short version of the synopsis. The synopsis that I've read are so convoluted.
Yeah. I've stuck to because IMDb will have like two. The very
I like
first
that one. The one you just read is the best one.
Yeah. They'll have like the storyline, which gets too crazy because sometimes it's put in by like fans of the site or whatever. And the synopsis in the very beginning of the on top of the page is usually short. So, because we've definitely made the mistake of let's read this one, and it's like a fucking novel. You're like, Jesus Christ. Or it's nothing like the movie. You're like, this doesn't sound like the movie. So yeah. Yeah, directed by Joe Dante. I love Joe Dante.
Gremlins, baby.
Hell yeah. What do we want to start with? What we liked or what we didn't like?
We could do liked.
Okay. I mean, I definitely like a lot more things about this than I disliked. So
Right.
You want to start it off there, Mad Mike Terry?
Sure. I love the transformation scenes in this movie.
Yes.
I remember, so when I
Yeah.
rewatched it, I thought I had never seen this movie, but I definitely have.
Oh,
And
dude, it was always on the
yeah,
fucking
I
Sunday
remember
or Thursday night movies or Sunday afternoon
Totally.
movie all the time.
Same. I thought I had never seen it, and the second I saw the goth chick, I was like, and the brother, I'm like, I've totally
Yeah.
at
she
least
was
seen
very
parts of this.
recognizable,
Yeah.
and the transformation scene. Yeah, I thought it was very cool. I don't know if this is like a public discourse or if this has definitely been discussed over time, but I've never seen or been part of it. I kind of thought the transformation scenes, especially like the main one, was a lot better than American Werewolf in London. Like that one gets like
I've never
touted
seen
as
it.
like the best one, and there's parts of it
Well,
that are better than this, but I was definitely like zoned into this one. Like I was watching this movie while working from home, and I
Right.
stopped working and just got sucked into this transformation scene, and I was like really in it, and it lasts a long time. It's not
Yeah.
like a quick thing.
Mhm.
I
And
think
I was just like, wow, I like this looks really good, and I know this movie costs like $1 million to make, and so
Oh
this
yeah,
is
they ran out of
great.
money.
yeah.
Well,
I
it
think
made so much money compared to what it
I
cost to
think
make, but
part of that is because in An American Werewolf in London, there's really only one transformation scene, and that's him in the living room. Like everything's bright, which is cool because, to do everything well lit is fucking crazy. So that's awesome. This one, the transformation scenes are always like kind of gritty
Dark.
and dark and,
Mhm.
just like, kind of spooky. It's more like an old monster movie, like an
Yeah.
old Universal movie.
yes.
How the cinematography is with the lighting and everything.
I just
So,
thought I thought the lighting, I thought all that stuff was great until they turned into the wolves. Once to the
Yeah.
wolves, I thought it looked pretty bad. But
So
like the in between,
it's funny.
in-between
Well,
sequences.
just because you talked about American Werewolf in London, so the makeup person who did the wolves for this was supposed to be the guy who did that. He left
Yeah.
last minute to go to American Werewolf, and then his assistant took over and did this
Mhm.
one,
but just the
which
wolves.
is kind of cool. Well, the effects maker.
Yeah,
The whole thing.
Rick
The whole thing.
Baker.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Rick Baker. Yeah,
Yep.
Rick Baker left. Yeah. I knew that. But these are still great. And I think it's funny though that you said that, Oops, that because the fact that this movie and American Werewolf came out at the same time is just totally like typical Hollywood thing always.
Oh yeah.
Like where you have to have
Always.
multiple of the same thing. Like right now we're in the vampire Frankenstein world where like that's happening right now in 2024. So
Mhm.
it's just so interesting that that was happening, and they stole the guy off one movie to go work for another movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like the transformation scenes, multiple of them.
Mhm.
Besides when they get to the werewolf part, not so much. And that one animation scene where it's like cartoon animated.
Yeah, the rotoscope shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're banging by the
Mhm.
fire or at the end.
I thought that was good. And I really like, and I'll besides the transformation, I really like that werewolves existed in this world. And I
Right.
like that was like a thing that everybody knew, even up to the end when the kid's like, "What do you guys?" He's like, "What are you watching?" Like, "Oh, the news lady just turned into a werewolf on
Yeah.
the screen." And I just said werewolf, by the way. It just came out that way.
Uh-huh.
The news
Well-
lady came out. The way the kid says it, it's just like, oh yeah, and like everyone's like, oh, you gotta know the shop owner. He's got all this lore about werewolves. Like, I love it. We don't have
Right.
to be like spoon fed like what the rules are.
Right.
And
Or
especially
act like they
1980
don't exist, like in some
like
of the movies.
1981. It's like, yeah, it exists and all that shit. And so I thought that was cool. So those are what I liked about the movie for sure.
Yeah. You want to go, Oobs?
Sure.
All right.
One of the cool things too, that final transformation, at
Which
the
one?
end,
The
they were-
Pomeranian? Which one?
Mhm. Yeah, which was interesting. They wanted to make a more feminine werewolf, and it ended
Right.
up looking just like something else.
Yeah.
Totally.
But they had run out of money, so they filmed it in one of their offices, and that's
Yeah.
why a lot of it was all close up because they couldn't show everything
Yeah.
around it. If you And after you know that, if you watch that part again, because I went back and watched it again, it's hilarious. Because yeah, once she turns, it's just like super close in on the whole thing, and you can't see the newsroom.
Oh yeah.
So
Speaking about that part, a lot of the stuff in the newsroom, like when they would go down the hall and they'd make a left, there was no hallway there. It was just like a space. So like the five
Maybe
people
just shoot
that
it the other way.
kept going down there would just have to kind of stand scrunched next to each other so they don't pop back out into the scene.
yeah, they seem to do a lot of stuff to save money. They used some of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres corpses and props in this. And yeah, they were pretty much by the end of it, like they weren't even sure if they were going to finish it because they had just like used all the budget they were given, which is great. I mean, listen, I definitely know I've at least seen parts of this when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen the whole thing front to back, and I actually wasn't excited about watching it. And I don't know why. I think I thought it was going to be more serious than it was.
Right.
And this has the camp of that
It's
time
definitely
period that I enjoy.
silly.
Mm-hmm.
It gets silly though as it goes on. It does.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
always silly.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It becomes silly.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
No, it's true. At the beginning, it's definitely not. It's like dark
Yeah.
and weird and gritty and kind of you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then
yeah, but
she's
then
at
it's just
this
like
weird
chuckles at
place
the
with
end.
these.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and when she first shows up at the place, everyone's weird, but you think
Weird
that's
people. Yeah.
because yeah, they all have shit going on, and then yes, from there it gets over the top,
Ridiculous a little
silly.
bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
But
like
not
it.
like too bad.
Um,
It's not like
no,
that. It's like over
it-
the top, but it works. Like it's like works for
One of-
what they were
It does.
Yeah.
And the hillbilly guy has definitely like a Hills Have Eyes vibe to him.
Totally.
Even the like, go take that rabbit to my sister, she'll cook it for you thing. And
Mhm.
just like always like with his fucking awful vest and haircut and bad teeth, like just staring, oogling at everything. But like it works. And I could definitely see this, being scary or back then.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
and
think there
it's funny.
might have been was it The Hills Have Eyes? I think there's a poster in the back. I can't remember which movie it is. But if you go back and rewatch it, there's might even be
Well,
Gremlins or some shit, I
they
think.
had the guy from Gremlins might have, but they also had the actor from The Wolfman in I think the doctor's office.
Yeah, well, the crazy
The
thing,
original.
Lon Chaney.
no,
Mhm.
they had
Mhm.
they had a lot of people in this movie. Like, let me just run down the cast of like people in this. So Kevin McCarthy, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and
Mhm.
a bazillion other things. Piranha. He was in,
Oh yeah, Piranha's the other one.
yeah, Dick Miller, another one of fucking Roger Corman's just go-to guys. Bucket of Blood, all that shit. John Carradine, who's been in fucking
John Carradine?
Yeah, he's the old guy. He's the old werewolf. That's all like, bro, let me jump into the fire. I can't
I
Yeah,
didn't
deal with
even
it.
notice that was him.
Yep.
Oh, weird.
Dee Wallace, of course, which is like 1980s
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
And here's some stuff that you might not have noticed. So when Dee Wallace is in the telephone booth calling fucking Eddie, she gets out and she's like, okay, I'm done now. And the guy that walks in is actually Roger Corman.
Hmm.
So he's in there when they're in the bookstore, when they're in Dick Miller's bookstore, and he's going through all his shtick, and they're like silver bullets, blah blah blah, and that scene, there's an old guy standing at the whatever counter who turns and walks away. That's actually Forrest J. Ackerman, the founder of Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine.
Oh, wow.
And he turns around and he actually has a few issues of Famous Monsters in his hand. And then Eddie,
That's cool.
which was the gym teacher from the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
Don't remember the gym teacher from the Wonder Years. But
Yeah.
that's cool.
He had like a friar tuck. He's just like this fucking goof. But that always blew my mind when I found that. I was like, wait, no, that's not the same guy. He's like this in this child's TV show, and he's a goofball. And
I love that dude who's the shop owner. I forgot what's his name again.
Dick Miller.
So
Oh, yeah.
He was
such a
also in
great-
Gremlins
so-
and a
Yeah, yeah,
bazillion other things.
yeah, he's so
Well,
good.
There's other Gremlins crossovers too. The
Mhm.
smiley face picture
Yeah.
on the refrigerator.
Yep.
So they did that in Gremlins, and also it was like one or two of the news anchors in the Howling they brought back to be on the news for Gremlins.
Oh yeah.
And apparently there was a time when they were talking about doing a movie that kind of brought Gremlins and werewolves together because they were trying to make it exist kind of in the same
That makes
universe.
sense.
Universe, yeah. Oh, and
Which would be way cooler than some of the Marvel stuff. And I
Totally.
like the Marvel stuff. But
speaking
Gremlins and werewolves.
of news people and just characters in this movie, a number of characters were named after directors of previous werewolf movie directors.
That's so cool
Oh,
that they
interesting.
paid
Yeah.
homage to all that stuff.
Yeah, which is
Famous Monsters magazines, all those
yeah,
things.
which is why Joe Dante fucking rules, because he does little shit like that, and you're like, that's awesome,
It's like actual Easter eggs.
right?
Yeah.
What else you got, Juliet?
I mean, mainly the campiness is what I like, and I like it's so funny because I guess I haven't seen as many older movies as concentrated as I have in the last couple of years doing the podcast, and it's interesting how many of them, because of the time period, use things like the news
Yeah,
and the way they do, and also so many of them have doctors that are the bad guys.
right.
These are great observations. The news
Yeah.
for sure. It's definitely one of them. Every movie from back then used the news as like a,
Mhm.
I mean, they still do it now to an extent with the TV giving, exposition in the background, but like the news is a big part of this movie for sure.
Yeah, and also
Yeah, and I
not
think
the
it draws
best.
people in.
Yeah, and they're always the doctors in the news are always like the bad guys.
Well, yeah,
Because-
you look at like Nightbreed, Hellraiser, this. I mean,
Mhm.
God, there's so many where the doctors are like fucking just
The ones. Yeah, this one.
which makes me wonder like what fucking doctors were doing in the 70s and 80s because I feel like they were up to no good.
What are they doing now? The more things
That's
change, the
true,
more
too.
things they stay the same. But yeah,
That's true,
fucking
too.
Kevin McCarthy, the news anchor guy, the head news anchor guy or the owner, who's just like a complete dick. Well, and
Yeah.
like the position they put Dee Wallace in from the beginning. Hey, we're gonna film this live. We want you to get this expose with the fucking killer. So we're gonna put you in complete danger. And of course, everything turns to shit. Oh, we can't trace the call. We lost contact, and everything, gets all fucked up. And then of course,
Yeah, because their technology was super awesome back then.
right. And then Patrick
What are they doing?
Mackney, Dr. George Wagner.
Oh,
who-
the best.
Yeah.
Oh, the one thing when they put her back on the air the second time and she kind of starts to pause, he's like, I don't know what's going on with her. Is she pregnant? And I'm like, right.
Yeah,
I guess
that
somebody's
got
been
me.
through
That
like
got
a
me.
super traumatic experience. It's just, it's just women's stuff.
Women's
Just
stuff.
Yeah.
Must have a baby inside her, being a real bitch,
Is it her time with a month? Ugh.
Yeah. I was like, mm-hmm.
But
You
yeah,
might as well
I
have
was
said
like, I
she's
was
just
waiting
being
for
a real
that.
bitch.
yeah. But Kevin McCarthy's so
know.
good in that role. Like he's totally like this J. Jonah Jameson
Oh,
type asshole.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
That's what I'm saying.
I was,
That's
I
towards
was,
the
I
end
was
of the
just like
movie.
waiting for it. I was like, they're gonna do something. They're gonna.
But that's towards
I
the
mean,
end.
they
All
said
that
plenty of things.
ridiculous. That camp gets
I
it's
know.
only it gets laid on thick towards the end.
right.
Yeah.
It's like we ran out of money. Get funny.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I liked about this movie is like it being Joe Dante. This to me has the feel that Gremlins was supposed to have before the studio stepped in and was like, no, we don't want the original script. We want it like PG and make it, more kid friendly as opposed to it being the dark script that it initially was.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, if Gremlins turned out like this, that'd probably be one of my favorite movies of all fucking time.
Dude,
Gremlins still scared the shit out of me. Gremlins scared the shit out of me.
Right.
I
Gremlins
still,
is
at my,
scary.
I lock my door around Christmas time at night, and I have to walk by my Christmas tree before I get to my bedroom. And
Yeah.
after I turn off the lights, I scurry past it very
Right.
quickly.
Dude,
Or
Gremlins
sometimes I get
is
my husband, I'm like, you need to turn the lights of the Christmas tree off because I'm not doing it tonight. And he's like, why? I'm like, just please go do it. Gotta do
Gremlins,
it,
bro.
because there's a fucking
It's-
gremlin in there.
Dude, it's perfect gateway horror. It's
Yeah.
scary, but not too scary.
Right. But
It's
you
like,
can,
it could give you nightmares, but it's not going to give you nightmares forever.
yeah, you
Except for
can
when you walk past your Christmas tree.
absolutely tell that
It got
story,
kids into horror.
yeah, came from a
You should
darker
like it more.
script. You're like, oh
Sure,
yeah,
but-
this
Yeah.
could totally have been way darker, this scene, that scene. And that's what I feel like
Of
this
course.
was more. I love it.
Mhm. Sure, but because they didn't do that and they let it be a rating where
it's
parents
what we
fucking
got.
let their young children watch it, it made a whole new generation of horror fans that started watching horror at way
Yeah.
too young of an age.
It's
Because they
definitely
watched that shit at like 6 years
for me.
old and were terrified, like
For
me.
sure.
But then I was like,
I'm,
hey, I kind of
I'm
like
one of those
that.
people.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm definitely one of those people. Gremlins is definitely one of the earlier ones where I was like, I can watch this. It doesn't scare me too bad. like that,
Yeah,
and
that,
and then like
Ghoulies.
Yeah.
Love
Ghoulies,
those.
cat people for some reason, probably because of all the sex. It's a weird.
Yeah,
Fucking
it was a weird, it's just a weird movie.
I had
it's very
nightmares
werewolfy.
about
Yeah.
like creatures that looked like cats coming after me and my family and killing us for like
Oh,
years.
no.
My mom
Was it
says
from
it's
the
from watching
commercial?
that movie.
Oh, from
My
cat
mom
people.
says it's because I watched that movie, but I don't
Cat
ever remember
people?
watching it, and I haven't watched it again just in case.
Cat people is like softcore porn. This is why I watched
Yeah.
it so much as a kid. It's probably why.
And then
It's like
Sleepwalkers.
it's like werewolf. Yeah.
Yeah. Sleepwalkers was another one. They would turn
Yeah.
into cats, weird werewolf cat things.
I wonder if that's where my like hatred of cats comes from. It's from cat people.
Could
Or
be.
the
Maybe
Cats
it's mine
commercial.
too.
Or the Cats
I don't
commercial.
fucking like cats.
No, I'm not a cat person.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners.
Me neither.
Another thing I thought
Me
this
neither.
movie
I think
did.
people who have cats are weird.
Yeah,
I'm more
they
into
can be.
wolves.
Wolves.
But if you have a wolf,
I have a wolf in
Yeah.
my house. I mean, he's a domesticated
Ooh.
dumbass wolf, but he's a wolf.
I thought this movie,
yeah, same.
much like When Evil Lurks, like it did such a good job of having tension right off the bat. Like everything from the very start is, you're just like, man, this is already thick. There's never like an easy moment till they get to the
It's the uneasy camera movements. It's definitely
Yeah.
they're definitely creating this thing. It doesn't bring that back though ever.
Mhm.
But until
Yeah.
the cabin scene, it's like there's not really that vibe.
yeah. Once they get into the community, it kind
You know,
of
now
like
that we're talking about it, the vibes of this movie's all over the place.
oh yeah.
It starts off heavy and then funny and then gory and
Yep.
yeah.
The effects were good. I definitely like the effects. One of my favorite scenes is when what's her fucking name? The chick from Piranha, Belinda Belaski, Terry,
Mhm.
her friend, goes up and
Mm.
she has her encounter with the werewolf.
That's what I recognized her from.
Yeah, chops his arm off.
That
And
was
it's-
sick.
Yeah,
That scene, it
it's-
had like it had balloons in it. You
Yeah.
could see the balloons moving,
It,
but
it was great.
the turn was really good.
I thought Joe Dante did such a good job of using when you see the actual werewolf, great. Because you don't always see it.
Mhm.
There'll be like little flashes until towards the end once Terry gets to the thing and then you see him fully transform. And you're like, oh shit. Up until then, it's just kind of like a little bit here and there, an arm here, a flash here. And then, you know,
Know what I did? Know what I did laugh about this, which I don't know if it's not meant to be. It's not one of the things that's supposed to be funny. When the transformation is happening, it's so long.
yeah,
It's very long, and she's just standing there, just like
waiting.
I'm like, yo, just fucking run, just
Run. Get
run.
the fuck out of
He's
there.
taking 30 minutes to transform. You had so much time to go, and then
I
like
know,
as he's about to
leave.
lunge at her, she throws whatever that acid was at him. I don't know what
Right.
was in the beaker.
Hydrochloric
And then he-
acid, because that's the 80s. Everything was hydrochloric acid and
yeah,
quicksand.
Oh yeah.
And I thought maybe I
Of course.
missed what it was. I'm
Fucking
like, what is this?
quicksand. God damn
I was like, is this holy water? What's going on? Like, why is he burning so bad?
Just, because every doctor's office has some hydrochloric acid just hanging around.
hmm
You never know when you're going to run into a werewolf you have to throw it on.
No, it's the 80s. Hydrochloric acid,
Yeah.
quicksand. I think Oops just said quicksand.
Yeah, it's all
Fucking
there.
barrels of like, slime.
He said it and I
radioactive
doubled
slime.
down.
Yeah.
There's always sliming barrels everywhere.
Yep. And the story, I like this. I actually liked the story, the layout of like, there's this weird community of werewolves, although why they were trying to bring her in.
So I was wondering about that, and then I started thinking about it. I think it's because in the theater she saw the hillbilly guy, And then the doctor was like,
Well, she
she's
saw
gonna
Eddie.
identify him.
Yeah, she saw Eddie.
Whichever
Yeah,
one.
not the guy in
It
the
wasn't the
vest.
hillbilly?
No,
Okay.
that was the brother
Sorry.
of
Oh
the
yeah, Eddie
harlot.
Quince,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. But so because she saw his face and he was gonna be like taken back out of the morgue and possibly back on the
Right.
street, that maybe they were like, we gotta get her out of here because she might recognize him, like
Right. And who I forget,
whatever.
was it one of you two said the lighting? I forget.
I was
Um,
talking about, well, we were talking about, you mean in the last scene? Or
Just in
we were talking
general.
about transformation, how it's darker and
Right.
it's
grittier.
pretty
Yeah.
dark. Yeah.
Well, they use the same lighting they did in like Gremlins, like the cool, fucking
It's like
ambient.
splash lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. But I mean, all that stuff was good. I think we agree pretty much on everything we liked. The things I didn't like, which you touched on, Mr. Terry, is the werewolf design is not my favorite.
It's kind of silly.
A little bit.
Like, it's not scary. They're way scarier when they're like mostly transformed. Like,
Yeah.
if they just stayed like that, they looked
Yeah.
kind of like Teen Wolf-ish with that, but like scarier. And I think
Yeah.
that's the way to go. If you're doing like a werewolf movie, at least if I was going to do a werewolf movie, no one would become full wolf. You'd be like mostly human still.
Yeah,
Right? So like
that's
with
Yeah.
the hands have to be scary for sure. And they were. By the time they
Right.
got there, the hands were really scary. The nails and everything, those tricks, like they looked good. But when they had the full claws, I was like, oh, their claws look scary and good.
The
And then they get
shape was
that
awesome.
yeah, then
Yeah.
they get that headshot. You're like, this looks silly. It looks like
Yeah.
a bad decoration.
it
Like, it looked
almost
real bad.
almost looks goat-like because the face is so long and narrow
Yeah.
and the ears are ridiculously long. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I guess
Yeah.
it's fine. But like if we're
It's-
nitpicking it, but it's like it takes you right out of it.
Yeah,
I was
it-
way more into it when it was changing. I was like, oh, okay. And then
yeah, some of the stills are pretty cool, like when you can actually see it. But again, my personal like opinion is I like a werewolf face when it's not fully a wolf.
yeah.
Aside from an American Werewolf in London, because that thing was just super gnarly and like
yeah.
almost bear-like. It was just crazy and super evil looking. I like that, but I typically prefer more of a like humanoid as opposed to a giant wolf standing
Jason,
on
you
its
like
legs.
Jason Bateman in Teen Wolf too. We know.
Yeah, or the Wolfman, or even the fucking the remake of the Wolfman, Benicio del Toro's one. Like I thought that makeup was good,
Yeah.
but I mean this is fine. It's just not my favorite.
Well, you can spin it with saying that they did like a lot of them though. It was a
Right.
lot of werewolves. So it's like a lot more work. It's not just the one transformation scene. We got like multiple mini transformations.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
the big one at the end,
To what Oobs is saying, the brother, the fucking hillbilly guy, like when he's
Mm-hmm.
at the end, when everything gets found out and her friend's husband comes to save her, and then homeboy starts like wolfing out, like that face is fucking scary. Like
Yes.
I'm like,
That's
oh,
true.
I'm like, that's cool. Like you see his eyes and you see his like the cowl just starting to form, and you see the fangs. I'm like, that's fucking dope. And then
Yeah.
the Pomeranian.
Yeah. There's a part where he's like looking back that's like
Yeah.
very animalistic and it's not all the way there and it's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
The Pomeranian thing was just, I always thought that was silly. Even when I was a little kid, I'm like, what the fuck? Like they just, the end scene is cool. Like how they find out everyone's a fucking werewolf and they're all trying to get them. Like, I love that
Yeah.
part because it's kind of campy. Like that's when probably about 20 minutes before then, it starts getting real silly. And then I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. This is like fun and cool. And it just all played out kind of like an old Universal movie. And the score, I love the
Yep.
score, just organs.
Yes.
I'm like, dude, this
Uh-huh.
is so fucking 1930s Universal
Definitely.
monsters, But yeah, the werewolf D Wallace turning into the thing at the end, I was like, that always took me out. I'm like, really? That's what you're gonna leave me with? You have all these gnarly werewolves and shit up until this, and then she's just like this sniffling little fucking puppy. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. And then she gets blasted.
Right. And her character, honestly,
Which was cool as shit.
yeah.
Yes.
The idea was cool. I just hated that design. Her character also kind of annoyed me. Not that she didn't have a right to be fucking crazy and annoying, but I don't know. Just the way she was playing it was kind of like, I kind of hope this chick dies because she's a little annoying. But
Right.
those are like
I like the conversation in the bedroom about the cheating.
oh yeah.
Oh my
It's
god.
just instantly she like gets up from bed and says like one thing like you couldn't keep it in your pants, and then he hits her,
Oh my god. I was
and
like, oh.
and then she's just like "Ah," for a minute, like leave me alone. I'm calling my friend and leaving, and I'm like, you know what's sad is this was probably kind of a normal reaction back
Mhm.
then. It's like watching
Yep.
Staying Alive or Urban Cowboy, and you're
Yeah.
like, I thought this was a happy movie, and then you watch him again, and you're like, holy shit, there is just a lot of hitting women in these fucking
Dude,
movies.
oops. I'm glad you brought this up because when I was watching that scene and that whole cheating thing was happening, my first reaction when he hit her was, oh, and then right away I was like, well, it was the 80s, and that's how it was in all
Yeah.
the movies. I feel like I was like, oh yeah, you know what? This was way more common back then. Like smoking cigarettes and beating women was definitely like hand in hand on screen.
I mean, it was like he didn't miss a beat. She was
Right.
just like whatever she said about,
But
sleeping
I
with
mean,
someone, and before he was like, no, I didn't. He was just like, bam,
what did she call her? Did she call her harlot?
a Harlow.
He did say
Harlow.
Harlow. Yeah.
Something or troll something, one of those old timey words.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Uh-huh.
but also that kind of plays to
floozies or
the
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the transformation of him where he goes from like this vegan or vegetarian
Yeah.
to after he gets attacked, she's like, oh, sorry,
This is great.
I forgot about you eating meat. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I'll eat anything. And then it just shows him
It
turning into an
does
animal.
go with it, but
but
that
also-
they probably could have had that happen before he got bitten, and
Yeah.
nobody would have even been like,
but also
Oh, yeah.
accurate.
yes, she said something you don't like, just backhand her.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a big
sometimes,
deal.
hey,
Stupid broad.
Like Scarface.
sometimes you gotta.
Made me think of Scarface.
Oh God, yeah.
Definitely reminded me of
It's
that.
the 80s. That's what you had to do sometimes. These dingy broads getting all out of control. Emotions. Whack.
She's probably pregnant or something. Gotta
Yeah.
hit her.
Swift little backhand just takes care of it. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. What didn't
She's
you
getting
like
that
about
woman brain.
it? Yeah. Mike, what didn't you
Woman
like
brain
about it?
was taken over.
I didn't.
Aside from the things we talked about already.
I should say I didn't like her getting beaten, but that didn't even come to mind because it was the 80s, so it was just normal to me, I guess. But
Yeah.
I was taken out of it when that happened. I was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, it's a product of the times. But
You see his mustache, you're like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's normal.
he's so
Fake Tom Atkins.
No, yours is not shaped that way. It's
I know,
different.
I can't twirl it.
Yeah. Who's also she's involved in a lot of adultery.
Real fiance.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in Cujo, she was the dude she cheated on her dude with in Cujo.
Did she get beaten, Cujo?
No.
I mean, she had a rough time.
Yeah. And she wasn't the annoying one in there. The kid was. So
God,
It's
that
that show.
fucking movie.
yeah.
Oh, that is a
what I
slog.
didn't like, just the things I touched on. I
Yeah.
didn't think I was expecting a slower burn, and it kind of moved very quickly.
Right.
And as they revealed the werewolves,
Werewolves.
fuck me, throughout the night, throughout the movie.
Werewolves. Wolves.
As they had the
Werewolves. Werewolves.
what are we? We're werewolves, not swearwolves.
Werewolf.
Yeah, it was good. I like the makeup and all that stuff. I hated that cartoon scene.
Yeah.
With the transformation in the woods.
Yeah.
And I know I wasn't really a big fan of the convoluted story. I felt like it was like I feel like on paper their story makes total sense.
Same.
Yeah.
But watching it, I was just like, I'm kind of confused at what's going on here. Like there's this serial killer, but she's part of this culty thing, and I was like, they feel like this could have been like
They could have streamlined it a little bit.
Felt a little disjointed.
Mhm.
But beyond those two things, it was very enjoyable. Like I said, I think it moves pretty fast. Like I had recently watched American Werewolf in London only a year or two ago, and I felt like I might have enjoyed this one better. And I think just because of pacing, maybe not. It might not be actually better, but
Right.
pacing wise,
Yeah.
it felt better.
This was in my top
Makes
3
sense.
werewolf movies.
Oh wait, what are your top threes?
Oh, we did a podcast on our favorite werewolf movies.
Okay, I have to go
Yeah,
back.
good. I'll tell you. I'm not going to make you wait.
Thanks. Now make me search.
Yeah.
You got a guy. You got a
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, direct
Thanks.
in there.
First was the Wolfman, just because that's just, the granddaddy. So I love that.
Makes sense.
And then An American Werewolf in London. And then this. This is like a close third because there's more things I didn't like about this than An American Werewolf in London that are just like pretty big. Like the makeup.
Well, American Werewolf in London is way more polished. It's a more
Yeah.
polished movie.
Yeah. But I like how this one isn't, how it's more of, it gives you that more monster movie throwback to the Universal stuff and like just the fucking score and everything and the lighting. And but I love that aspect of it, but it's just the makeup for me. And this was just like not hitting as well as that one. And then, like I said, Dee Wallace's character was just a little too like, she's such a whiny broad, a little too screechy. I'm like, oh my God, this is a little too much. But
now you wonder why he laid the smack down.
I mean, I already knew. I'm like, I mean, what do you expect, lady? But yeah. So
wait,
that,
where does Teen Wolf land on your list then?
it did not make my list. Yeah,
man.
unfortunately.
That's fine. It's fair.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. Oubliette, what didn't you like about it aside from what we all agreed on so far?
Some of the story stuff, because
Right.
like I just found out talking to you guys, I did think Eddie was the redneck guy, but then I just looked it up and he's actually the redneck guy's brother.
Right. Yeah. They're all like
But then they don't list the sister as having the same last name,
weird.
which I think is weird.
Yeah.
So then that pisses me off more because even then when you look it up on the cast listing, it's even more deceitful.
Speaking of,
but
what's
okay.
the makeup and Eddie. So when they're in the doctor's office and before he totally wolfs out, he comes walking out looking like Frankenstein, looking like the monster, like his giant head. I always thought that was just fucking ridiculous looking. I'm like, I get it. He's like half in transformation, but it looks stupid.
So that guy played Lurch in the new Addams Family.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Which,
Wait,
if
which
you look
Addams
at that
Family?
makeup then,
Yeah.
the new Addams Family, it looks just like that.
No, that's funny.
I was like, he looks familiar. So I looked him up and was like, I wouldn't have recognized him from that. It's just
which new Addams Family?
the series. There was one that was actually called The New Addams Family.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Andy was on Star Trek, one of the, I think, Deep Space Nine, maybe, or maybe Next Gen. He's been in just a bazillion fucking things. So, but
That
anyway,
makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah, the story, because I mean, in the beginning they were talking about the serial killer, and then she goes to the Spank Theater and watches a rape on screen, which I guess was
The 80s.
something you could rent back then.
Snuff films, man.
And then yeah, just like you said, kind of like why they sent her to it. Like I felt like they could have had literally like a 10-second
Yeah.
phone call from someone or anything, and not even like out the doctor yet, but just like, I mean, they could have outed the doctor because it wouldn't have even mattered.
Right.
But just like a conversation from someone being like, oh, she saw his face. We need to take care of this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely could
And
have
then
been
you would have been
streamlined.
like, and then in the beginning too, when they kill him, well, like not kill him, but when they
Right.
shoot him and the cops come in, they gasp, like, and then they keep referring to him as a kid. I actually thought for a second that like whoever the serial killer, which you knew was a werewolf because the growly voice, had fled. And maybe there was like a teenager hiding in the theater, not
Right,
like
right.
watching something they weren't supposed to watch or whatever, and like they killed the wrong person.
hmm
But it also made for a good twist because even like when they were at the commune or like the mental facility or whatever, and they went in the room and saw all the same like drawings and like the fake wolf, art or whatever.
You mean Wolf?
Wolf, it made it feel like that person got away maybe
right.
and wasn't, even though I know werewolves don't get killed by regular bullets. But yeah, in the beginning, I totally thought there was some kind of bait and switch or like they killed a kid because the way they were talking about it and the way they gasped. Because like if you shoot someone a bunch of times and you see it, I mean, well, I guess they shot him in the head. But the way that they gasped, I really thought it was like they shot the wrong person or
Right.
something. Or
Yeah.
Um,
Or they almost made it seem like, what the fuck is that? What did we just shoot?
that
Like
too.
it was very like not like, oh fuck, like we fucked up. It was like, oh, what is that thing?
Right.
Like super
Right.
shocked. Yeah, I get it.
Well, and then afterwards, I know it tracks later. They were like, they didn't have anything on them, a weapon or anything, and you just, open fire. So that kind of stuff in the storyline that was like, what's going on? And then other than that, although I loved the campiness, some of the characters were just a little too Motel Hell for me, even though I love Motel Hell.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love, 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 love Motel Hell, but I feel like in this application they could have been like a little bit better actors and less like Pleasantville come to the dark side. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like too chipper and like even like the rancher. It was a little, but this
was
time
very-
period, a lot
Yeah,
of movies
it
were
was
like
very
that.
Motel Hell-y, actually, that I think about it. Like the people, the characters in it,
Yeah.
especially the cop,
Mhm.
like the sheriff or whatever. Like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, miss, blah, blah, blah. You're like,
Oh, hey, little lady. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Um, but I do like that. I like that stuff too. I felt like I think maybe it's not that I don't like that part. I think that because it goes from serious to campy and then back to serious at the end, and this
Mhm.
almost like statement, swan song kind of news thing she
Right.
does. Like, and the beginning was really serious, and this woman in this very dangerous situation. And then the middle is like fun and games and like over the top.
Yeah.
Like I like it all, but it is disjointed in that way. Like I feel like they skirt over a lot of stuff in everything, but the last 10 and the first 10 minutes of the film and make it seem like not a big deal, where in the beginning and end, it's like much darker and much more of a big deal.
Right. Yeah. I have it on now. And when Eddie walks in, when the boyfriend comes up to see what the fuck is going on towards the end, and he walks in with Frankenstein head, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
But the vibe jumps around, like Mike was saying earlier. There's a lot of it. There's like ebbs and flows of serious tension and then super campy and then not. But if
I
this
feel like it starts and ends pretty hard. And then in
Right.
the middle there's a lot
Yeah.
of roller
Right.
coaster
Yeah.
of jokes and yucks
Yeah,
and
exactly what-
transformation and blood.
Yeah.
Oobs is saying, but it's like in the 80s, I don't know, it almost feels like a really well done like B movie,
Mhm.
which is good, and I
Sure.
love it. Like I said, it's a very old timey 50s,
I mean, it holds up.
30s Universal like monster movie with that serious like, oh, here's some heavy shit, and then here's the funny fucking housekeeper. Hey, y'all, blah, 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 like the comic relief, but it's so ridiculous. It just peaks out. You're
Yep.
like, what? And then it goes back to like, oh, I'm going to eat your face or whatever. Yeah. I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
No, that's the only thing I didn't like about it. It was enjoyable.
All right, let's rate this motherfucker then. Mikey T, what do you got?
Two monster candies.
Ooh,
Oof. Whoa.
jeez. He
That's what
was.
happens when you start calling him Mad Mike Terry.
I know.
You did this, E.
It's all my fault.
I'm you know what? I have to fall in line with the class, all right?
Man,
Sometimes I was rating
fucking-
things too high for the class, so
Mike starts off with talking about how great this was, and then he's like, you know what? Fucking minus
Now he's
one.
doing an Eva.
all right, for werewolf movies, sure, it can get like 3.75. But just for movies in general, gotta lay the corn down.
There you
What? Oh, what are werewolves second class citizens to you in horror?
I guess.
No.
It's like,
You know what? They are.
Sounds like
because
it. Sounds like it for
It's
a
funny you say that.
werewolf film.
It's funny you say that, Oops, because as I was
Judgy
doing research for this
McJudgerson.
movie, it turns out that they didn't want to market this as a werewolf movie at all because they said no one would come if they knew it was a werewolf movie. So they didn't market it as one.
But they called it The Howling.
I swear
Yeah.
to God, if it was like one of these things that the studio was like, people don't like werewolf movies. So if they find out it's one, it's why like it took so long for like the reveals to happen, I guess. There was all this studio.
I like Werewolf by Night.
good. Oh, jeez. Mad Mike Terry is fucking on a rampage. He just gave that a All right.
See, I see. He's all sweet and butters us up, and then we let him come on the podcast more, and then he just starts shitting everywhere.
I didn't
like
shit.
it.
I gave it a 2.
I already went through this with you. It's fine. I know how to go through this again.
Well, what do you got, Oubliette?
I have one other thing I hated.
Okay.
I didn't like that when the whole fucking werewolf got shot in the spank tank. That when the
sin
cops
bin.
were looking for, when the cops were looking to find her, the guy who owned the store was like, I knew I shouldn't have let a broad in there. I'm sorry, but like women can watch that stuff too, so fuck right off.
I mean, why wouldn't you
And-
though? That's
and
way
honestly,
less cleaning
it would-
up.
That, and it would probably, I mean, I know he said it cleared everyone out, but I don't
It might
know. I
bring
feel
people
like
in.
it would have brought business too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, who wants to
Okay.
clean up fucking other dudes bleh, as opposed to like a woman? I'd be like, oh, thank God I don't have to go and fucking mop that shit unless she's
Hey,
pissing
you know,
all
it
over
depends.
her.
You
But
never know.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that depends.
was the 80s and
It was the 80s.
I will give the Howling a 2.75.
okay, man, my turn. So I'm gonna come
He's
in
gonna be
and
like 5, 5, 5, 5. You get a 5. You get a 5. You get a 5. Look under your seat. You get a 5. You
Close.
hairy one over there. 5, 5, 5. You Pomeranian a 5.
for some of those reasons, it's not getting a 5. I'm gonna give it 3.75 werewolfy candy corns. I love so much about this movie. The campiness is part of it, but like I've mentioned a number of times already, it gives me that old Universal monster feel. And it's in the 80s, and just the lighting. I love the score. Like everything about that is what I really loved. And it could have probably gotten a 4, but the things I didn't like were like big, like the design, the werewolf at the end, D. Wallace. Like it was just like, if those things were just changed a little bit, it'd be great because it's a fun movie. But yeah, 3 3/4.
Terry and I are both giving you eyebrows right now.
I know.
We were listening to you. Terry's giving you the empathetic in eyebrows like this, and I'm giving you the one raised.
I'm just
keep
I'm just
talking
doing
your
it 'cause
bullshit. This is just like some shit.
I'm with you, E. That's why I gave it a 2.
Yeah.
Once they became actual werewolves, they looked terrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just like,
And
But,
it's
I
a
mean, it-
werewolf movie.
Still averages out to almost 2.8, which was still pretty good for us.
I feel like that's
I
the
think you
proper
bumped
rating.
it up a little bit to bump the average.
I swear to God, it's written down on my notes. And it's crazy because like I gave Gremlins a 4 and 4.5.
I just feel like you're just like a full of shit. You gave
You
Gremlins
gave
4.5.
Gremlins a 4.5?
Yeah, like I love that
Shots.
movie for some of the same
Shots.
reasons,
I do
which
too.
I'm sure
Which
because
makes me think you wouldn't have done that.
yeah,
Same. I wouldn't give it a 4.5.
yeah. I mean, Joe Dante, I like his style because he does a lot of old school stuff and gives it that old monster movie feel. So, which I liked, but like I said, Gremlins for me is like just a better movie from start to finish, like more even as it's being
Way
like,
better movie.
more of like kid friendly. It's still spooky and creepy and has all the things in it that if you wanted to go darker with it, it would be so easy to do. But still the same kind of vibe. But like I said, there was no D. Wallaces in
So what was our average? 3 point what?
2.8. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I think if anyone hasn't seen, I think this is definitely one of the better werewolf movies that you're going
Don't
to get.
bother watching Howling 2 through 7.
No, do not.
Did you know that we're getting 6
Through
werewolf
7.
movies this year, though?
Really?
What?
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. 6 werewolf movies, werewolf movies coming in 2024 and beyond. We're getting Hellhounds, which just came out. Robert Conway's came out January 12th. So Hellhounds is out right now. It's
Mhm.
very throwback, apparently, to the 90s. Blackout, which has Barbara Crampton in it, comes
Right.
out April 12th. So Blackout is coming.
I know
April
there's
12th.
one we discussed a while ago on here.
Yeah,
but I can't
Werewolves
remember the
Year
name.
2. This
Right.
one has Lou Diamond Phillips in it.
I think, is there one just called Werewolves?
That's it. It's called
Is that
Werewolves / Year 2.
Okay.
It's to be determined this year.
Right.
Stephen C. Miller is the director.
Okay. Yeah.
What else? is coming
Wait,
out?
did
Big
somebody say
Bad.
Lou Diamond Phillips?
Yes,
Chief
I
Diamond
did.
Phillips. Yep. Remember, we talked about it. I brought it up on Horror News a few episodes
Yeah.
ago.
I remember
Yeah.
that one. I was
Yeah.
making a joke about
Let's
it.
see here. Big
I
Bad.
listened to you most of the time.
What was the other one like?
Big Bad. Christopher Landon, who directed Freaky and Happy Death Day and Scream
Oh.
7.
Huh.
Well, he was supposed to.
Right.
He's doing this one called Big Bad, which is coming out later this
Right.
year or early 2025. But it's going to go right to Amazon. Nope. I'm reading something else. It's not. The other one is What Remains of Us. It's supposed to come out this year. It stars Kit Harington from Game of Thrones.
I
looks
think I
pretty good.
read something about that one.
It actually looks
The
pretty
Game of
good.
Thrones things, yeah.
And
I
then
mean-
number one, The Wolfman.
Oh, right.
Whannell's Wolfman is coming out this year.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, a lot of them just end up being like dog soldiers, which were not my favorite.
No,
Like they're just too goofy, too sci-fi channel like.
all of these look not like that though, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean,
They all look like pretty, like, legit. The way this based off of like the synopsis.
right.
I'll drop the link in. I didn't want to dive into what they're all about, but they
Right.
look like all right. Hellhounds might have a little sci-fi, SCI-fi before they were sci-fi.
Right.
This old sci-fi channel. There's a difference in sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah. I
One
mean,
of them is full CGI.
yeah, it's about time
Yes.
there's some werewolf movies out again.
Well, it's because we're talking about it, so now
Yep.
they,
Werewolves.
Werewolf.
Werewolves.
Ah,
Wolves.
Yeah, I had such
Why
high
are you
hopes.
Why are you doing the count?
Remember our
One.
no,
Two.
what movie did we watch? Oh, I sent you that old clip of people talking in the 20s and they were laughing that we were trying to do our mid-Atlantean. They all laugh like very
Oh,
distinctly.
that's just fabulous, dog.
Yeah.
Well,
One of
it's
the
that very condescending laugh, like take
Yeah.
the laugh from A League of Their Own. It's girls
it's
playing
just weird.
baseball.
yeah, very very hearty and stern.
Why? It's like they always reference laughing. They always like talk about that they're laughing. Like, oh, why do I laugh?
Yeah.
oh, that's true.
Yeah.
We are laughing.
Well,
We are
hopefully these
We
werewolf
must laugh
movies,
together.
the Wolfman in particular, hopefully that's better than fucking Benicio del Toro's one. I was so pumped on that, and then I saw it in the
still haven't
theater.
watched it because I
It's
knew.
so
Lee Winnell's
bad.
pretty good, man. Lee Winnell's
It's
pretty
so
good, right?
bad because they tried to do, they did what a lot of movies within the last like 10 15 years started doing, like let's change the entire story and make it something completely different. And then there's all this weird shit, and then there's like his dad's a werewolf now, and his dad's fucking what's his name, fuck, Van Helsing. He was Van
Oh,
What
Helsing
about
in
the movie Wolf?
that was like a weird one.
Fucking Jack Nicholson, the weird fucking romance movie.
Yeah, that
Ugh.
was also weird, and it was like a romance movie, and then oh hey, we're gonna throw some
With
wolves in it.
James Spader.
Yeah,
Gross. Nothing says romance to me
Like-
like Jack Nicholson.
yeah, it was so fucking
Jack
bad.
Nicholson, David Schwimmer was in that one. And it was Jack Nicholson romancing
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, what?
Yuck.
Although,
You're like, that's weird.
yeah, I mean, the makeup was actually pretty good.
Oh, it's fucking crazy. The transformation stuff, his big ass
Yeah.
mouth was just like he obviously has a mouth for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't Jack Nicholson playing that, like it
No
would
interest.
look cool. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't. But Anthony Hopkins was in the remake of The Werewolf, where he's a werewolf, and then him and Benicio del Toro fight.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this has, what the fuck is going on?
when
This
did
is
that come out?
like
The 90s?
2002 or
Mhm.
something like that. It was
Oh,
a while
it was
ago,
definitely a
or
sweet.
maybe like 2008 or
there
something.
definitely was a fight scene that was soundtracked by like Saliva. or something like that.
2010.
2000, yeah. It was just so dumb.
Oh,
But this, like, the aesthetic and the scenery and all that were super fucking good. The makeup was great, and then they just ruined it with trying to give it some weird new story.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
Wolfman. I
Emily
remember this.
Blunt was in it with him.
Mm-hmm.
God, I never watched this.
I'm gonna have to go back.
You
Nope,
don't need to.
definitely not.
Don't
I'm
do
good.
it.
I've
Don't
seen
do it.
enough. I've
Yeah,
seen
it's
enough.
bad. But yeah, The Howling. Check it out if you didn't. Mad Mike Terry, thanks again for coming on.
Always. I'm down.
Hell yeah. Oh, don't
Yeah,
worry.
thanks
What are we
for
doing
shitting
next?
on the movie, buddy.
Meet the
I,
Feebles.
I shit on nothing. Gave an accurate analysis.
Sodomy. You must think this very odd of me.
Is there anything coming out in the theaters that we can talk about?
Oh,
Is there any-
Imaginary,
Late Night with the Devil.
Ghostbusters.
No, I refuse to see Imaginary. Fuck it. I heard such bad things. I'm good.
Late Night with the Devil.
I'm in. That
It'll
movie
give you a
looks
chance
fucking
to shit on
crazy.
everything.
I'm not going to. I don't want to shit on a movie just to shit on it.
Doesn't
Oh,
the new
no.
Ghostbusters fit into Monster Candy's parameters?
Hell yes. It's technically a monster movie.
It looks better than the last one. I'll give
Yeah.
it that. I didn't
The
really
last
love
one-
the last Ghostbusters.
Last one was
movie.
okay, but it didn't need to be made.
It comes out Thursday.
Yeah.
I would
Oh.
have liked the last one if that had been the first kind of redo of it, but
Right.
the one with the women was so much funnier.
I
That
agree.
when-
I know the women one gets shit on, but it was funnier than this one. Like Carrie
And it
Coon, I
does.
love Carrie
And I
Coon.
was-
She's awesome.
I was
but
ready to
not
show
with-
it too. It was
Carrie
good.
Coon and Paul Rudd together have zero chemistry, and I
Yeah.
love Carrie Coon. And the
Yeah.
kids, the kid Finn Wolfhard. from
Yeah, I
Stranger
hate
Things,
that dude.
Man, I fucking hate
Yeah.
him too.
Dude,
I
he
hate him.
sucks. He looks like a bird.
Uh,
My oldest niece
I'm
is
not
like
gonna
in
hate
love
his
with him.
appearance. I just don't think he's just a great actor.
Oh, I'll hate his appearance. His little fucking broccoli
He's
head
just kind of a
bird
shit
face.
bag.
And just his
Yeah.
attitude. He plays the same shit bag in everything he does.
Yeah.
And it's
So-
annoying.
Yeah, he's a little prick.
So
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was good enough. I just thought that everybody was like, new Ghostbusters. I got the feels. Like, no,
Agreed.
not at all. I did not get that movie. Gave me no feelings at all. It
Well,
was weird. It was like a lot of Paul Rudd, like just like joking around with this. Oh, I guess we should do the next Ghostbusters movie then. Maybe
yeah.
we should do that
Well,
one.
Mm-hmm.
hear me out.
All right, I'm
Juliet
listening.
has been really wanting to do these two movies. And since she'll be going on a little rock and roll tour for 2 weeks, I was going to try and watch the Dunes in between that time.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Paul
Yeah.
Mob Deep, Mob Deep, Paul. I
Yeah.
saw it.
Those are long movies, so it's going to take me a minute, but
Have you not seen them?
No,
Go to the theater for the second one.
maybe.
Yeah,
That's
just
a
go to
long
the theater.
time.
You need to because of the black
Dude.
and white part.
Okay.
You,
The
black
you
and
love
white
black
part
and
is
white.
I do.
You have
crazy.
to see it in the theater.
All right. Well, I got to
Black
watch
and
the first
white.
one first.
It's going to be
So-
tough. You're going to watch the first one. You're gonna be like, I don't know about the second one. But
Yeah,
it's
it'll be
like
fine.
Empire.
Well-
it is to New Hope. It's
Yeah.
serious.
I mean, that's fine.
Second one is way better than the first one.
The first one, I was super surprised. I had no intention of seeing it whatsoever. But one night, Christian and I wanted to watch a movie, and I was like, let's just see what's on streaming. And there was like nothing new. So I started going like the back catalog, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. It's already kind of late at night. We'll pass out if this sucks. And we stayed up, and we were both like, wow, that was way fucking better than we thought the remake of Dune would be with these young kid actors.
Right.
Enough to where we were like, we'll at least see the second one. And I figured it'd be about the same level. But
Mhm.
I'm telling you, especially because you like older films, you love black and white, like
I do.
you got to see the second one in the theater.
Dude, you will like it. I think you'll like
It's mostly just the time. I'm like, fuck, that's a long time.
It goes.
The second
it
one,
definitely
it
goes.
goes fast.
The
All right.
second
It's
one
action
definitely
packed.
moves.
I mean, I'm if we're gonna do them, so I'll watch them. It'll just
Oh yes,
take
we
me
came out
away.
on stage last night to one of
Yeah.
the songs from the movie. It's like our
Nice.
bass player, it was his birthday, and it's way too epic of a song. And it's like all this throat singing, like in all this crazy shit. And we came out, and it's just like, we are Arrakis, we are a Dune cover band. It was
that's hilarious.
like I enjoyed it. People were into it. I guess Dune's a thing now, so people
Yeah.
are into
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
That's fun.
And
And the vampire young girl movie is April.
yeah.
That's
it.
soon, too.
Abigail,
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
So
That's
there's
gonna be
there's some
fun.
stuff to watch
Yeah, there's
for
stuff
sure.
coming. I feel like February was the dead zone, so we're coming out of
And
it.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage's
Oh, yeah.
Cage has that movie next month.
Yep.
He's got a bunch of movies coming out. Yeah.
Which
He's
the
got a
trailer
couple
looked pretty
horrors
good.
that look-
Yeah.
It looks good. This is a
Yeah.
monster movie.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that one with the
Yeah.
kids. He plays the dad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So there's some stuff
Cool.
we'll get to.
We're gonna have to do so many episodes.
So many of them.
So
Let's do
many
it. Let's
episodes.
stack them. We can
Oh my
stack 'em.
God.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. Thanks for everyone tuning in again, and we'll check you out next time, you little werewolves.
Bitch asses.
Bitch ass werewolves.
Hey, we're
We'll
werewolves,
see you
not
later, you
swearwolves.
little werewolves.
Well,
I
hello,
love werewolves.
Mr.
We'll go see you at the parlor later. Why do we laugh? I
Leave
love
your
to
silver
laugh.
at leave your silver at home, wolves.
Awesome.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? We don't have to be mean.
Yeah, Jack Burton just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Your move, creep.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Want some candy?